What's up, everybody? This is King here, Master Flexologist and GM at Stretch Lab Beverly, here with our lead flexologist, Natalie.
Hi, everybody.
Absolutely, and we'll be going over the runner's lunge hip flexor stretch today. As we know, many of our clients, it doesn't matter if they're in really sedentary positions, whether they're extremely active, the hip flexors are so important to make sure we're keeping them loose, keeping them mobile, preventing pain in the hips, in the lower back, everything along those lines that all of our talented therapists and flexologists out there know about. So, with that being said, let's go and get right into it. So with the runner's lunge hip flexor, we want them in a very specific position to make sure they're as fortified and stable as possible, which allows them to get into a deeper stretch more quickly and more comfortably as well. So as we look at Natalie, we can see her left side is perfectly aligned right here in very vertical position. Put them in the most optimal, stable position. We want the heel even with the knee or even a little bit further ahead, okay? And when this foot comes to be secured, we do not want them on their toes in our foot here because it will naturally be contributing to them feeling sliding back and to not feel as stable. We want this foot to be perfectly flat on the floor, just like so. And then now we're gonna come in, and the therapist, you're gonna go perpendicularly, just like so, to secure it. Get nice and snug to their foot as well, so it feels really, really secure there, okay? And if anything, we want your foot to be angled a little bit like this so that if the foot does slip, it slides back into the table where it's nice and safe, instead of sliding outwards where it can be dangerous. So, position one for us will be them holding themselves up, straight arms stacked underneath their shoulders, nice and tall, just like so. That'll give them the deepest stretch throughout the psoas. We know how important it is. The only muscle that connects our legs to our spine. So this is position one. If they cannot bear that, if it feels too intense, what they can do now is just drop down to the elbows. That is the lowest that we want them to go. If they have to go all the way down flat, that means that we need to back off the stretch, because then now it's purely quad. Okay, so let's have Natalie up in position one, holding herself up, shoulders stacked above the hands, nice and tall. And for the runner's lunge hip flexor, what we want will be a bolster. This is gonna give us the optimal length and the optimal height, okay? So that when we ask her to go onto her toes, to lift up here, and we can aid this as well, we slide it right underneath, okay? The bolster is barely above the patella. If this is a patella here, we want it as close as possible without being on top of the actual kneecap, okay? Then now, once you're on this position, we want to lengthen. So we're actually gonna pull the bolster back, which will lengthen this leg, lengthen the hip, make it easier for us to have less muscular resistance as we go into the stretch, and she will get a much deeper and quicker hip flexor stretch. So we'll save time while being more efficient. So with that being said, we're gonna grab the bolster right on this clip here, okay? And then we're gonna go on the opposite side, making contact with the client's leg nice and strongly. Okay, we wanna be able to actually control the leg here, and then we're gonna lift up and slide back. And you'll slide back anywhere between 3 to 6 inches, depending on how mobile and active, how pliable you think the client's muscles are at that moment of the stretch. Okay, so now she's in the perfect starting position. Now we're actually gonna go start the stretch. So with her foot, what I'm gonna do is go in and take my right foot perpendicularly. Perfect, just like that, so that she does not slide back at all. She feels really locked in. So we're perpendicular right there on her foot. We're taking the hand, going really strongly into the gluteal ridge. Also trying to think about keeping my bones stacked. And just really now, rather than pressing, I'm really just leaning, using my body weight and leverage. And then in the optimal grip, top of the feet, we're gonna take her into a stretch until the client reaches that threshold of 7 out of 10 intensity that we're looking for. You can never go wrong by cueing the clients to breathe deeply, continue to make sure that they're in fully relaxed, neutral positions, because this can be a very intense stretch, and that's also why it is one of our most effective. Okay, so with this stretch, we have 3 P&F sequences. The first P&F sequence, after you're in the stretch for that 20 to 30 second period, the body's now getting acclimated, absorbing the stretch. You will cue her to press her feet, the client's feet, into your hand. And then we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. It's very important that when you cue the P&F, you do not lighten your pressure on the gluteal ridge. And then while she's pressing, I'm actually lengthening her foot. So I'm actually using my hand to lengthen upwards, which she will feel to not only be more comfortable, but will lengthen the stretch too as well. Okay, now we're gonna imagine that she's just been in that stretch for about 20 seconds. So we've had 30 seconds, P and F, 20 seconds. Now, our client's gonna go ahead and flex their left glute, isolate and flex just like that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Perfect. And at this point, we definitely wanna make sure that their hips are fully relaxed on the table. They're taking deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Their posture looks great. So at this point, when it becomes intense, the clients will try to have you push far into the stretch with their foot, but their upper body will start dwindling. They'll go down to their elbows and go down to their stomachs. We don't want that. If they have to do that, they would need to back off the stretch here because we want optimal lengthening all the way through the psoas. All right, so then now we're gonna do the third sequence of the PNF where the client will activate the glute while simultaneously pressing back into your hand. We want them to activate the glute first because it'll be more likely that they'll be able to activate and isolate the glute and then press rather than the other way around due to the client's diminished dexterity that we generally will see on a regular basis. And then we'll start the countdown. 5, 4, 3, we're not loosening up any pressure. 2, 1, and relax. Perfect. And then at that point, they'll stay in it for another 15 to 20 seconds, depending on how much you think they need this stretch, how much can they bear in a safe, responsible, and effective way. Okay, and something really important to remember too as well is that as flexologists, when we have this foot in our hand for the runner's lunge hip flexor, imagine this is our midline right here. Anytime this foot goes to or past the midline, you can use that shoulder to come back just slightly, lock it into the shoulder, use this to secure it, and then you can come forward just like that. So if they are very muscular clients, to have more muscular density, more weight in those lower legs and those trunks, you can really utilize your shoulder to diminish the strain on that working arm for yourself, okay? And a very important point about this is that when you are doing so, don't think about pressing the foot forward. You're actually gonna think about it sliding down your arm the deeper you want them to go into the stretch. So her foot will actually slide down my arm until they get to an optimal 7. And as you're doing so, we just wanna make sure that we're not lessening the pressure here in the gluteal ridge, okay? And whenever we put that pressure on the gluteal ridge, just to reiterate, it's so important that we're not pressing on the hamstrings. Really get up high, press up into the gluteal ridge, and then 45 degrees down to get that optimal lengthening on the hip flexor. Imagine she's sitting like this. When we go 45 degrees now, the hip flexors are going like that. Elongated, deeper stretch, more effective and more comfortable too as well. The hips will feel a lot less compressed and pinched if we can do that along with the lengthening at the beginning using the bolster. All right, so, and now that the stretch has been completed, we're gonna imagine I just took her out very slowly in this one, okay? Very, very slowly because it's such an intense stretch, okay? Take both hands, compress the hamstring, okay? Nice friction, just like that. All right, that will help diminish some of that intensity. So as we cue them to go ahead and come up nice and slowly, you'll move the bolster out the way. We want them to stand up and we want them to shake their legs out nice and strongly. We know that the hip flexors control that movement of lifting the leg and walking. So if we get them to walk around to the other side, then we're doing our part just to have that little bit of diminishment as far as that intensity, so then they will be much more relaxed on the opposite side. All right, and that is the runner's lunge hip flexor. If you have any questions at all, feel free to comment below here on my StretchWorks. Any questions too as well. We want to be collaborative. All you therapists out there, great luck with this one. Let us know if there's anything we could do for you. I'm King. This is Natalie. All right, you guys have a great day.